Another year and another E3 is in the books. Despite reports of dwindling attendance compared to last year, and Sony's presence at the show being sorely missed, this was one of my favorite E3s in recent memories, at least for JRPGs. In case you didn't get to watch some or any of the press conferences, or you just want a refresher on what all was announced, I've taken every JRPG related announcement and packed them into one video for your viewing pleasure. I'm Virgil for JRPG Central, and this is your E3 2019 JRPG Recap. We're going to be going loosely chronologically here, so let's start with the leaks that dropped 2 days before E3 officially began. From Bandai Namco, we got 2 leaks that later turned into full announcements: Ni no Kuni Remastered and Tales of Arise. The original Ni no Kuni is coming to the Nintendo Switch and is releasing as a remastered edition on PS4 and PC. On the Switch, it will run at 720p 30fps, just like the PS3 original. On the PS4, it will run at 1080p 60fps, and PS4 Pro users will get the option to run the game at either native 4K at 30fps or 1440p at 60fps, which will be my preferred way to play. Of course, PC players will presumably get to run the game however they please. From what I've gathered and what I can see, I have not seen or heard anything about any changes outside of resolution and frame rate to the game, so it seems to be just an FPS and resolution bump, which in my book is still pretty awesome. The game will be releasing on September 20th for all the platforms I mentioned earlier. Now, Tales of Arise leaking, it's truly just a shame, because had it been shown at Microsoft's show as it was, no one would have known it was a Tales game until the very end of the trailer. When talking with Famitsu, producer Yusuke Tomizawa called the game the series' rebirth, and said that they want to offer, quote, a highly immersive experience, end quote. Whatever that means. I suspect graphics won't be the only thing new in this newest entry in the long-running series, and we're bound to find out more details during the upcoming Tales of Festival this weekend. Tales of Arise is set to come out sometime in 2020. For Kingdom Hearts fans, we got gameplay of the upcoming DLC Remind and confirmation that it is coming this winter. I haven't played Kingdom Hearts 3, so I had no idea what was happening in this trailer, but if you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, I'm sure you're pretty pumped about this. During Microsoft's conference, we got the totally random news that after all these years, Phantasy Star Online 2 is finally coming to the West. It will be free to play just as it is in Japan, and will be coming in the spring of 2020 for the Xbox One and PC. Is this too little too late? Probably, but hey, better late than never, I guess, and it's just kind of crazy that it's coming out at all. So props to Microsoft, as I assume they had a very big hand in getting this localized and getting it over, since it is exclusive to the Xbox One and PC. Moving on to Square Enix's conference, unsurprisingly, there was a ton of JRPG-related announcements made. If you want to see my full reactions to the entire conference, I'll have that video linked on screen and down below the like button. To kick things off, they opened with the deepest look at Final Fantasy VII Remake we've had to date. They went over different mechanics like the battle system, the ATB system, and party system in a full stage demo that was informative and not really that awkward by E3 standards. I was really surprised considering it's also Square we're talking about, and let's just say they're not the most graceful bunch. Anyway, towards the end of the Final Fantasy VII Remake section, after an earlier tease, we finally got our first look at Tifa in-game, and she looks fan-freaking-tastic. Finally, we got a release date of March 3rd, 2020 for the first entry in this remake project, and details of the 3 different editions of the game were shown. Because, of course, there are 3 different editions of this game. We have the Standard Edition, which is the Standard Edition. The Deluxe Edition, which includes a steelbook, an art book, a mini soundtrack, which is the worst, and some DLC stuff. And as I call it, we got the Big Dick Special Edition, the First Class Edition, which is of course exclusive to the Square Enix online store. With this, you get everything in the Deluxe Edition, as well as a PlayArts Kai Cloud Strife figure with the Hardy Daytona bike as well. And hey, it's all for the low price of $329.99. Kill me. Next, we got a new trailer for Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, which notes that the game is coming this winter, and that it is now also coming to iOS and Android, which was really random and weird. Unfortunately, however, the game is still not very good. Next, the Last Remnant Remastered was randomly announced and released in the same night for the Nintendo Switch, so That's cool. We also got some more gameplay for Dragon Quest Builders 2, and the announcement of a demo that will be available on June 27th, before the game's release on July 12th. To keep the Dragon Quest train a-movin', they showed another trailer for Dragon Quest XI's, and while it was not confirmed during their conference, the game is confirmed to come out on September 27th. However, there is still no word on when or if PC or PS4 players will ever see any of these new features. There was a huge section in Square's conference about the new Final Fantasy XIV expansion Shadowbringer, which launches July 2nd. After that, Romancing Saga 3 and Saga Scarlet Grace were both announced to be coming stateside, with the date of coming soon. Romancing Saga 3 looks great, but Scarlet Grace, not so much. It's going to be a hard pass for me. Next, we got a new trailer and a release date for Tokyo RPG Factory's third game, Oninaki, which will release August 22nd for PS4, Switch, and PC. Hopefully this is the turning point for the studio and really a chance for them to prove themselves, as their past work has thus far been very, very unimpressive. Arguably the biggest announcement of the night, after being skipped in the remaster treatment between 7 and 9, Final Fantasy VIII Remastered was finally announced. With a release date slated for sometime this year, it should have similar bells and whistles to the HD ports of its PS1 brothers. If you want a graphics comparison between the two, I did a trailer analysis and breakdown, which you can find by clicking on screen right now or down below. And that was it for the Square Enix conference. Obviously, there was other non-JRPG related things, but overall, I absolutely loved their conference. I thought they killed it. But before we move on to the Nintendo Direct, which will have our last bit of news, I want to throw in that during E3, NIS America announced that Disgaea 4 Complete Plus, yes, that's really the title, would be coming to PS4 and Switch this fall. This seems to be identical to the Vita version, which itself was an enhanced port of the original PS3 version, so that's pretty cool. We also got our first look at gameplay for Ys 9, which releases in Japan for PS4 on September 26th. However, we have no word yet on when we can expect the game to be localized for Western audiences. Okay, now let's talk Nintendo. Nintendo opened with a new Smash character reveal, which was the hero from Dragon Quest XI. I originally thought this would never happen, but ever since the last Direct, I believe it was, where they gave a huge spotlight to Dragon Quest XI's and Builders, I had a feeling that this would actually happen. Then of course it was leaked at some point that it would happen, so the reveal wasn't really that big of a surprise, sadly. But what was not leaked, however, was the fact that the Luminaries' alternate skins were other heroes from other Dragon Quest games, which means that the heroes from Dragon Quests 11, 8, 4, and 3 are all in the game, which is still kind of surreal to think about, and even now it doesn't really seem real. Speaking of not seeming real, Seiken Densetsu 3 is getting a proper Western localization, and it's getting a full 3D remake. Yeah, a full remake and localization announced within minutes of each other. Now being titled Trials of Mana, the original SNES version will be available in the Collection of Mana, which also includes Seiken Densetsu 1 and 2, Final Fantasy Adventure, and Secret of Mana respectively, and the 3D remake, surprisingly enough, actually looks pretty incredible. Unlike the Secret of Mana remake, which looked like a cheap mobile game ported to consoles, Trials of Mana looks like actual effort was put into it, and quite frankly, I'm super excited to get my hands on it. The Collection of Mana is available right now digitally, and it will be available physically in August, and Trials of Mana is set to come out sometime next year. Next, we got a new story trailer for Fire Emblem Three Houses, which honestly just looks worse and worse the more I see it. I hope it ends up being good, and I hope I'm wrong, but yeah.
Yet we have the strength to scale the walls between us, to reach out our hands in friendship so we can open our true hearts to one another. That's how we win!
There was a section covering Pokemon Sword and Shield, which debuted a couple of new Pokemon and announced some limited support for the Pokeball Plus. I know there's some drama surrounding this game right now, but honestly, none of that really bothers me. I am still completely hyped for this game. And by the way, Sword and Shield, Trials of Mana, and Dragon Quest XI's all got extended Nintendo Treehouse demos after the Direct, which I highly recommend checking out if you are interested in any of those. Specifically, the Dragon Quest XI's one had a ton of really cool info that you will not want to miss if you're a fan. But that about wraps it up for this year's E3. Like I said earlier, easily my favorite E3 in years for JRPGs. So what was your favorite announcement? For me, it has to be the Seiken Densetsu localization remake 1-2 Punch. Literally no one on the planet was expecting that, so that was super cool. Remember, if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful in any way, be sure to leave a thumbs up, and hey, if you didn't, that other button works too. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day, and I will catch you guys in the next video.